Hey, yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Generational Beef Podcast. I am your host, Tristan Terrell, as well as my dad,
Noel Terrell, Generational Beef.
The Beef. Coming at
Beef.
you on a Wednesday this week. You'll see it on Thursday, day late. Had to, go use my real job and get some extra cash. Got some truck issues. That's a little bit fun, but hey, getting it all sorted out. So,
Well, if you look to the ground, what are we going to do?
hey,
Anyway.
I mean, it's old. It's got a lot of miles on it. Not for the age, but it's old.
Yeah.
Anyways, talking about other real life issues, Tiger Woods this week. Car problems, man.
Look, man, here's the thing. This is something that happens to rich people that I'll never understand.
Which makes no sense. You have so much resources. Like,
Right. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for anybody to get behind the wheel drunk or DUI, whatever he was on. Impaired. However, when you're not worth $1 billion or several $1 million, at least you could say, dang, I'm 10 miles from home and I don't have any money. What am I going to do? And you might be desperate enough to make bad decisions. When you're worth $1 billion+ and you could have a car service just follow you around and drive you everywhere you want to go every night, or just buy a damn car that drives itself. I have one. Then it seems to me this should never be an issue for someone like that. It's never made sense to me. And this really sucks because I'm such a huge Tiger fan. I've been a Tiger fan. I played golf because of Tiger Woods, like watching his early years and just through his career. Like he brought so many people to golf. He's been so important to the game. I don't even think you could quantify it. He's been the most important figure in golf in the history of golf.
has he been the most
Like
important
bringing new people in.
pound for pound? Has he been the most important figure singularly to their sport across any sport? Like, because while it's probably still not as popular as the NBA, I think relatively, like, golf was less popular, so much so than the NBA was, like, before Michael, that, like, you could even make the argument that he had more impact on golf popularity than even Michael did on the NBA. Like, I'm not saying that's true, but
No,
I'm asking the question.
I think that's fair, right? Before Tiger, the sport was very niche, right? It was people with money. Predominantly, it was not very diverse, right? I don't know that I ever watched a round of golf before Tiger. I know I didn't play a round of golf before Tiger. And so I just look at that, and it's not true of everybody. There were people that golfed, but it was not what it is today. Even now I could name probably 10 golfers off the top of my head.
Right.
Before Tiger, other than Jack and Palmer, I don't know that I could have named anyone.
Right.
I knew it existed. I didn't know what a major was or the difference between it and any other tournament. Like I honestly didn't know any of that until Tiger Woods started playing golf. And so it's just sad to see now. I mean, I'm not sad for him. It was a stupid decision, obviously. He has billions. He's not going to, everybody's saying he might do prison time. No, he won't. No, he won't. He's worth $1 billion. He's not going to jail. He's not going to stay there anyway. He didn't hurt anybody. He got lucky, right? He didn't hurt anybody. He's not going to jail. So it's just sad that a guy that brought so much to his sport and meant, again, I think more than any player that ever played in golf for sure. I know any player that ever played golf before, to your point, maybe been more important to a singular sport than anyone in the history of any sport, potentially. I think it'd be interesting to at some point look at the numbers, but that seems like a fair statement to me. Again, knowing I didn't care about it at all. I would watch any tournament if he was playing in it.
Right.
It was just more exciting. It was fun. He was competitive. He had fire, which
Well,
was
and
not
especially,
something
like,
that's on sport much.
he hasn't golfed in almost 2 years, and He was confirmed to be coming back to the indoor golf league that he's a part of. He was confirmed to soonly be returning to that, and then there were a lot of rumors whether or not he was going to compete next week at the Masters. And you never know. Now we'll never know if he was going to or not. But
And
he
then you just
not
think of
not to
his,
say that he would have performed well, but it would have been cool to see him out there again.
and it
But
wasn't just that he brought viewers. You can't count on one hand the amount of athletes in their sport that were more dominant than he was. As dominant as Scotty has been the last 2 years, 3 years, in order to be at the number 1 list as long as Tiger
yeah,
was, he
it's
has
like
to do
not
it for
even a
like 12 years.
yeah.
Like, I don't know that you could make some arguments, whatever, but as far as dominating a sport, there's probably only 3 or 4 guys on that list.
I was gonna
You
say
can make a
top
close
of
to
list,
argument.
like top of mind. What comes to top of the list? What comes to mind? It's literally just like Tom, Bill Russell, and like Wayne Gretzky, probably
I mean, you can put
Michael
Jordan.
Phelps.
You can put Michael Jordan on this. Phelps is a good analogy if for no other reason. They're both individual sports. Um, and
Usain
obviously
Bolt, although his was
a
shorter
lot much
lived.
shorter run, right? He was dominant for the few times that he was there, but yeah, it I don't it sucks. You know, you would have liked a guy like that, for the majority of his career until the thing with his wife, and then the previous DUI.
Well, this is like
Um,
the fourth one, I
I
think.
guess it's like the fourth. I only remember 2 big ones, I guess, but
Right.
it was a pretty clean record off the course, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like to see it. I don't think anybody does. I feel what I feel most thankful for is that no one was hurt.
Absolutely. And at
One
first,
of them, he was really hurt.
yeah, he like
Obviously, he
broke
didn't golf
like
for a
several
while.
bones in his leg a couple
Yeah, I mean,
times. Or
it was a
the one time.
serious
Yeah.
several surgeries, I think, to get over it.
Mm-hmm.
At least it doesn't appear this time he was injured. No one else was injured.
No. Well, and then at first he came out and was told authorities that he had looked down at his phone or was changing the radio or something to that effect. But I think it came out today that he said that he was going to like work on himself or he was gonna there was I don't remember exactly what the report said, but that he was taking some time away to get himself clean, or he said something to that effect. And so
Yeah.
it's a really sad thing. Like you said, you can't really feel too much for.
And I know you started getting into sports towards the end of his run.
Right.
Um, I remember when you were 2 and 3, and we'd be in Florida over the Open
Yeah.
during the summer, and during Father's Day area with Uncle Jay and Grandpa and
Well,
Uncle Kurt, and
and
we'd watch that thing all week. And it was just I would never have done that before Tiger.
yeah. Well, in the Masters run that was, I think it was like 2019 or 2021, maybe even 2022, somewhere in that realm. That he went and won was like one of the most electric things I've ever watched in my entire life in
Well,
sports.
the first Masters he won was I'll never forget it.
No, I know, but the one after like all the comeback and everything, like just like kind of seemed like the redemption
I
tour
mean, he
kind
was
of
still an
thing, and like
amateur in the first one, and I
yeah,
think he won by 15 strokes. He
right,
destroyed, and that was just the beginning of a long run. It'll
yeah,
never be. I mean, I don't know. Scotty's still pretty young. Maybe he'll get there. Maybe he won't. But just to know that you have to stay at the number 1 at the position for another 12 years to
right.
even get close is just asinine to think about it. That literally he was number 1, and it's a nick. Well, I think I've told you this before. It's something I've always appreciated about golf. It's the only intellectually honest sport there is. Meaning you're number 1 if you won more money, and you only win money if you win.
Right.
Right? Now, granted, the big players have endorsements and whatever, but the reality is it's not like the NBA where I played for a certain amount of time and I get a max contract and I get all this money whether I win or play a game,
You're not Paul
right?
George.
No, in golf, you're grinding. And if you're a mid-level guy to a lower level guy, you're barely making ends meet just getting tournament to tournament. Because all that's on your own dime,
Right.
right? And so, it's an intellectually honest sport. I appreciate that about the sport. And to know, because keep in mind, during most of his career, there's 50 something tour events in a season. He was only playing 16 or 20 and still doing it,
Right. Right.
which meant when he was playing, he was placing,
Yeah.
which is nuts. The
Absolutely.
other thing he brought to the game of golf, other than eyeballs, which I think is the biggest thing for the game of golf, he also changed the players. Um, when he first came into the PGA, players looked like John Daly.
The GOAT, the real GOAT, John Daly.
He brought the fact that you better work out to keep up with me. And now look at the guys on tour. They're mostly
Right.
fit and
Oh yeah,
and and you
absolutely.
could tell they work out. He changed it to make golfers actually athletes,
Yeah.
right? And so, I mean, you look at now. I've never looked up this data, but it has to be true. The average drive now from where it was 25 years ago has got to be significantly longer.
Yeah.
There wasn't guys very rarely driving 400 yards when Tiger came into the PGA. Now a lot of guys can do that.
Right.
And that's the work outside of it, right? The fact that
The
they're getting muscular and they're
Yeah,
doing those things.
absolutely. And then just, different approaches and stuff. Obviously, much like any sport, it's gone much more analytical, much more scientific. So
Yes.
you've got all the different technology now that you put into it and like, okay, how does this affect my stroke and all that kind of stuff. Like, they Bryson DeChambeau is nicknamed the scientist and because that's how he approaches the game. But and while he is more so than most of the guys, like they're all using stuff like that to some degree at this point, and so
Yeah.
that
I mean,
obviously makes a difference as well.
club
So
technology, there's other things that come with it.
sure,
But Tiger, like Steph, changed golf. Changed golf.
absolutely,
Michael changed the business of basketball.
right,
Curry changed the way the game is played. Tiger changed the way golf was played.
yeah, kind of both. Honestly, he kind of did both, like 2 in 1 kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, but part of bringing the money to golf, not that
Is
there
the
wasn't money in golf
viewership,
already,
right, right,
was eyeballs.
yeah, absolutely.
All
Other
right.
side note, it hasn't come out what for, but right before we hit record, apparently Puka's agent said that he was checked into a rehab facility. Um, don't
That's
know
sad to
what
hear.
for.
But
Yeah, hopefully
but
not
if
anything
so, then
crazy.
hopefully he's getting the help he needs.
Yeah,
Don't like to see that with any athlete.
right. But now we can get to some brighter topics, more entertaining stuff, hopefully get to
Yeah.
the NBA. We've got a lot of really fun basketball in the last week. We're getting to that time. We're really getting to that time. It's heating up. Playoffs just around the corner. Literally 2 weeks from today, we will be in the play-in, and then after that, we're only a month and a half away from part two. So, hit
Yeah.
me with what you want to start off with.
Let's talk about the MVP race.
Yeah, it's gotten hot.
It shouldn't be though.
I agree. To some relatively.
Look, Shea right now is on an island of his own, and I don't care what Luca has done recently and what the Lakers are doing right now. I don't care, right? And I can give you some data to back this up, although part of that's buzzer beater beef, so I think I'll stick off of Luca. I'm going to focus on Wemby.
Okay.
So first, just overall statistics, right? From shooting percentage to scoring, there's a significant margin between Wemby and SGA. That's just a fact. That's the data. He also, the only thing that Wemby leads Shea in are the things you would expect: rebounds, blocks, and he has more assists than Shea, in fairness. Not a lot, but he has more. The problem I have with Wemby being in the race is going to be a data point that I don't think most people look at, but I went down a rabbit hole the other day. I have an
Okay.
Excel sheet. Okay.
Okay.
And this data element to me says everything because it says something about what the Spurs think about him. And I don't mean talent wise, but it certainly draws
I
into
think I know what you're about to say, and I think you're going to make the wrong point, but I think it's the right data. Go ahead.
His minutes per game.
It's the right data. You're going to make the wrong point, though.
I'm not even gonna make a point at first.
Okay.
I'm gonna let the data speak for itself. He is 83rd in the league in minutes per game. He's not playing starter minutes. You can't win MVP if you're not playing starter minutes. There are 83 guys.
For the record, only assuming regular starting lineups, there are 150 starters in the NBA, so he's definitely playing starter minutes. You could say he's not playing MVP minutes, fair, but he's definitely playing starter minutes.
Let me give you a couple of guys that play more minutes than he does.
I mean,
I'm not even going to give you
there's 82 of them, for sure.
Yeah, Zion plays more minutes per game than Wemby does.
Zion's a star-level talent.
I know he is, but he's also been an injury-riddled player. There's only one game difference between the two.
Yeah, I know. Zion's had a really good season. Nobody talks about Zion right now because the team is terrible. But Zion,
they're terrible, and everybody's just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Kawhi Leonard averages more points or more minutes than he does.
Kawhi's never been a guy to shy away from playing when he's healthy, though.
I get that, but he's played a lot of games this year.
He has. Right? Kawhi's been a dominant. He's
so you
phenomenal.
have guys that are not superstars in this league at all, right? Sure. Julius Randle averages more. Michael Porter Jr. averages more.
Oh, Michael Porter Jr. plays on a nothing team, so that's part of it too.
That's fine. Scotty Barnes. I could go down the list of say B-level players or B-level starters, whatever you want to call them, that average more minutes than the guy that's supposed to be the best player potentially on planet Earth.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to count it. Okay,
you're not playing. Now, one last point, and then I'll let you take it. The reality is there's only one reason he's not playing more minutes, right? And I think part of that is the San Antonio Spurs are concerned about his durability. There's no other reason. The other thing, too, is you can't even say that without him, they're not very good. That team is really good. So here's the one thing about the four legitimate MVP candidates, if you want to call it that. Obviously, SGA, Jokic, Wemby, and Luka. Right? The only place Luka has an argument, and he doesn't have one. Right? Because even though he averages 2 more points a game than SGA averages 2 less minutes a game than he does. So per minute, SGA is scoring more than him. I know we don't measure it that way, but that is true. So the points is not a big deal. The only argument that he would have, and it's still a relatively small sample size, is that he, at least when he's not playing, they're 500. The other 3 guys, their teams have winning records when they don't play.
Sure.
I mean, that's a fact. I won't walk away from that. To me, legitimately, this is a one-man race, and all this other stuff is just to make it controversial. No one else has a case. Wemby definitely doesn't have a case.
Oh, whoa. Okay. So now I got to cut you off because I'm going to have to disagree with a lot of the meat that you say to, in the end of the day, agree with the point you're making. So the first thing I will say, kind of to some degree, right, is that you said that the Spurs have a really good team. And you're right. The Spurs, I would say, are probably the second deepest team in basketball. And when you consider injuries, they're the deepest team in basketball because other than Wemby, they haven't really been hurt this year. And the Thunder obviously have had a lot of injuries. So I would say they're the second. You're right. They're the second. They're the second deepest team in the league, and then whenever you consider the totality of who has played, they're probably the deepest team in basketball. Agreed. That is also, for what it's worth, part of the reason why Wemby averages so many less minutes. I don't believe necessarily that it is due to...
Say that part again? Hold on. Say that part again?
I mean, part of the reason that he averages quite a few less minutes is that they're just a deep team. I mean,
So is the Thunder.
With a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of guys miss a lot of time, so Shea has to play more. I mean,
yeah, starters and other guys too, but you're right, they're deep and we're deep, but that's not that doesn't even make sense.
What I'm saying is,
SGA still leads our team in minutes per game.
sure. What I'm saying is, I believe it doesn't have a ton to do with durability, and I believe that it has more to do with just the strategy that the Spurs employ and how good they are as a team, right? That's part of it. The other part of it is, like you said, they do have a winning record without him, right? They are 10-5 without him. However, they go from a solid team without him to a dominant team with him. They are literally the second best team in basketball. They are extremely good. I mean, like, he's insane. And where I will push back with you the most, and I do believe that it is, like you said, a one-man race. I think that is very fair. Shea is going to win it. He should win it, and it should be running away, right? It's not close, right? Whenever you consider the fact that in the beginning of the season, it was Shea Jokic, and everybody was saying Shea because we started 24-1, right? And then Jokic gets hurt, and it goes to JB. It's Shea JB because in the month of December, JB averaged like 31 a game and was phenomenal. And that's when the Celtics had this meteoric rise and come to be the 2 seed where they still are today. And through part of January, it was also JB. And then we get back to Jokic playing. And so then it goes back kind of a little bit to like Shea Jokic again. And then in March, we get to the super heater of the Lakers, and it goes Shea Luka. And now in the last week or two, because the Spurs this entire time have just been a dominant team, and Wemby chirped up a little bit, now it's Shea Wemby. The only consistency has been Shea. It's been Shea the whole year because he is the barometer, and everybody else is being compared to it. It's Shea, right? However, where I will push back with you, I do believe, not that he should win it, not that he deserves to over Shea, because Shea is having one of the best guard seasons in the history of the sport. Just a fact. Every stat backs it up. The only person in my mind that has a real case, again, not that he should win it, but the only person that I believe even has an argument to really get votes at this point in the season, other than Shea, is Victor Wembanyama. The reason ultimately I am not okay with him winning it, other than Shea is just that freaking good, is that I believe, let's pretend that we say Shea and Wemby have an equal value per minute, right? Which is, I think, a reasonable argument, especially when you just look at the absolute insane dominance that he ensues on the defensive end of the court. Not to say that Shea's a bad defender, Shea's a good defender, but Wemby is historically insane. Pretend that they have an equal value on a per minute basis, which even at that point, because of how dominant Shea has been, is hard to get to. But I think it's a fair conversation. Yep. Like you said, he averages much less minutes per game. He has missed 3 more games. So even if they're equal value on a per minute basis, Shea still clears because of how much more he plays. Therefore, meaning that you would have to say that he is exponentially more value per minute for him to win it. And he's just not, right, at this point.
So two other points on this. First one, you said, yeah, but there's 150 starters in the league or whatever that number is, right?
Right.
He's not a starter. He's considered to be a top 5 player at this point.
He is. Absolutely.
Okay. Then if you're saying that, my point was, you can't compare him that there's 150 starters. Of course, there's a lot of guys.
No. All I said,
the only averaging superstar starter minutes, he's not.
The only reason I said that was because you said he doesn't
Kevin Durant averages 7 more minutes a game than him right now.
No, for sure. The reason I said that was because you literally said, and I quote, he doesn't average starter minutes. That's just not true.
Elite starter minutes.
He's agreed. Now, for what it's worth, typically speaking, Shea doesn't average like superstar starter minutes either, because we just blow teams out. He's
averaging over 33.
Sure, but a lot of the stars end up getting up to 37, 38, 39 because their teams need it.
There this year. The highest is in 36, but fair enough.
Fair enough. Anyways.
So one other point, and then we can move on to top 5.
Sure.
Do you know, sort of a trivia question? I just looked it up myself.
Okay.
There's only no player has ever won MVP averaging less than 30.
Yes, I did know that. Know that.
Who's the only player? What's the lowest ever recorded, and who was it?
That's a good question.
I can give you the number. It was 30.4.
That's even lower than what Shea averaged last year for sure. So it's definitely not
Oh,
that.
significantly. Shea was at 32, 33 last year.
Right.
I was shocked by this, actually. Quickly. If you can't get it, we'll go.
Maybe like Shaq, just because those teams were so dominant. I didn't think so, but
it's the best player on his team. I'm shocked by it. And
who?
a durable player.
Who?
Giannis, 1920.
That's not.
He averaged 30.4.
I mean, they were a really, really good team. They were a
I
really
know,
good
but
team.
still, he's the best player on that team. That's shocking to me.
Well, I mean, but again, you blow teams out.
I
You
suppose there
sit
were
late.
games that down the stretch they took him out because of the free throw stuff. I guess that didn't seem right.
That wouldn't be that impactful, especially because even then it'd only be like 30 seconds a game or so, maybe slightly
anyway,
more. But
he's 1.2 minutes less than the previous lowest.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, top 5.
Anyways, the last thing I will say is that if you asked me right now, if I say I had a vote, right, which I don't, maybe someday, right? My MVP rankings would be Shea, Wemby, Jokic, Luka.
I mean, for me, it's Shea, Jokic, because he's coming out of that whatever that was right after the injury.
Sure.
Shea, Jokic. I mean, he's back to elite Jokic right now.
Right.
So Shea, Jokic. I'll put Wemby there. I don't think he even qualifies in my book. I don't like Luka either for a variety of reasons we'll talk about in beef or not to beef. But anyway, or sorry, buzzer beater beef.
There we go.
I'll get the segments right in a minute. Or in a month or two. I don't know. All right, top 5. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I'll tell you there's teams I have my eyes on first.
Okay.
I'll make it brief. You guessed it right a little bit ago. Houston is on my radar. They dominated the Knicks last night. And let me tell you something. I'm watching them right now. Now they're playing the Bucks, so whatever. But here's the reality right now. The team I watched last night, if they go into the playoffs playing that way, and it wasn't just offense, their defense was elite last night.
Well, duh, they have an elite defense. The offense is their problem.
But they were playing great offense as well. They were passing the ball. They were getting it around. It wasn't ISO ball. Like, if they play like that, they could be dangerous. I'm not worried about them, but they may go past the first round. Who knows? And, they're 6-4 over the last 10, but on a 3-game win streak, looking like they're going to be 4. So just keep your eye on them. I was really close to putting him in my top 5 because I just have faith in Kevin Durant.
Just everything slows down in the playoffs, and you have to have a good half-court offense, and their half-court offense is atrocious. I get
last night, it looked great.
Sure, but again, the Knicks are also not a good defense. That's why they're not in my top 5. Like,
I understand it. I'm just saying.
I just think that give a team 7 games, especially because in the Western Conference, other than the Lakers, who might be who they end up playing in the first round, right? But in the Western Conference, other than the Lakers, basically, and kind of the Nuggets, every single defense in the West is like elite, and whenever you give an elite defense 7 games to hone in on making all the mistakes you have on offense possible, there's not a team that's more prone to those mistakes at this point than the Rockets. Like
I would say the Lakers are, but whatever.
No, offensively.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying what I've seen the last few games has been interesting. If they somehow maintain that into the playoffs, they could be dangerous. I'm not putting them in my top 5 yet. I want to see a few more games, but also I've been saying this for a while. Clippers are on my radar.
Sure.
Right now they're a play-in team.
I think
we're seeing prime Kawhi right now. I don't know how. I have no idea how.
Because he's never bad whenever he plays basketball. It's just
I
the
know,
question is
but
he
he's also played a bunch of games. That's been unusual.
He's really good.
And he got better somehow when you took the second and third best player off that roster this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Carry job.
staying on my radar. This last one, I don't believe in at all, but I keep my eyes on them because they are fun to watch and they
Do
play
not talk
defense.
to me about the Hornets when we're actually talking contenders.
Look, they're not even a play-in team today, but they're not far off. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying contenders. I'm saying keep your eye on them. If I'm a 1 seed, I don't want to play them. In fact, right now without Cade, if Detroit goes in and the Hornets make the 8, I don't know how that goes down. They're fun to watch. They're full. Those guys they play hard and they can play defense. In the East, they probably are the best defense.
Oh, that's not true. That's just
I
not
mean,
true.
they're really good. They beat us by 20.
Yeah, I mean, any one game,
No, I
but
understand it's one game.
the
Again,
Celtics, the Cavs, and the
not putting
Pistons
him in
all
my
have
top.
elite
And
defenses.
again, I'm not putting him in my top 5. I'm just saying. Okay, top 5. Number 5. Cavs have worked their way back in. They're 7-3. They're heating up. Do I trust them? No. They have a lot of firepower.
Well, and that's the thing that makes this so tough right now is just like every team that could be viewed as a contender right now is surging. Like they're all hot right now, and part of that also is just the bottom of the league is all trying to lose, but there are still games for those top teams against each other, and so like every team is like surging right now. It's insane. They're all really freaking good right now, so it's tough.
So
There's
Cavs
a
is
lot to
back
weed
in.
out of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
I
your
would
5?
say it's really, really, really tough for me right now. I think 5, I'm still going to go Cavs because that's who I had in 5 last time, and they haven't done anything since then to warrant me making them fall. But it's really tough for me right now just because, again, I believe the top 4 are the true top 4 that like stand alone. So then in the 5th spot for me, it's almost kind of like, do I believe that you're the player that can go and win a series? Um, I think the Cavs are probably the 5th best team in the league, complete team. But if I'm just talking about a player that I think could win a series, um, it's getting really tough not to put Luka on the list. It really is. Like he's phenomenal. But for now, I'm gonna go Cavs at 5.
So interesting. One last thing on the Cavs.
Yeah,
Out of the East, that's probably a team I'd root for in the East, just because I wouldn't mind Harden having a good run. He
that's
gets
fair.
so much flack for playoff, and rightly so, for playoff performances. Um, be nice to see towards the end of his career he have some success there.
Yeah.
Or moving up one spot from last week are the Nuggets. I mean, well, if Jokic is back to prime form right now, they're 8-2 over the last 10. They're 4 for me.
For everything you just said, my 4 is the Celtics. Not necessarily because of anything that they've done, but the other team has proven to me like, oh hey, it's April now. Shut up. Everything that I want to complain about, it's April now. Shut up. We've got the best player in the world. Arguably, it's Shea. We've got the second best player in the world. Shut up. Okay, I'll shut up until you play us in the playoffs, and then we'll see. But for now,
So who's your 4?
my 4 is the Celtics.
Okay, Celtics. Okay.
Again, not because of anything they did, but because the Nuggets are in 3 now, and they have Nikola Jokic.
So my 3 is San Antonio.
Okay.
Same thing I've been saying. This means Wemby has to do something no player has ever done in order for them to get to the finals and win it. I just don't see that. They're still young. They're a great team. I think the Oklahoma City San Antonio rivalry over the next
Could be
5
really
to 8
freaking good.
years is going to be nuts. And we're not going to get it every time. We're not going to win it every time. That team is great. They're young. A lot of that, let me rephrase that. Not a lot of it, because I think the team is great even without Wemby, and they are.
They're
They win
okay. They're a
games
good
without him.
team without Wemby. They are not
They
a
win
great
games
team.
at a higher rate than the other teams without him.
I mean, they're
Are they
8-4 without, or they're 10-5 without Wemby. We're 8-4 without Shea. I mean, it's basically the same. But
are does he make them significantly better? Of course he does. I'm not arguing that. The question is, will he be available most of that 8 years? I don't know. What
yes,
I do know is if that team is there, if we still have Presti as GM and he's making the right moves, which I have full faith and confidence in, this could be a rivalry over the next 8 to 10 years for sure. and be the two best teams in the West back and forth like crazy, which is going to be exciting to watch. I have them at 3 just because I don't anticipate Wemby doing something that no one else has done.
That's fair, and I don't necessarily either. But the one thing that I had been thinking about recently is like when you talk about a player becoming the best player in the world, and I think he's probably a year away from that, but probably
Again, you're going to have to play more than 29 minutes a game for that to be the case in my book.
maybe. I mean, Giannis only played 30 the year that he basically essentially became the best player in the world. We just talked about that. I mean, but anyways, um, I think that it doesn't come out of nowhere, obviously, but there is a moment, like a snap, like there's a moment, right? Um, for Mike, it was probably like 88 or 89 and then lasted until like 99, right? And then for LeBron, it was like probably 7 or 8 and then lasted until probably 19 or 20. Um,
Mm, I
it
question
did.
that.
It did.
I would say more 15, 16, but fair
There's
enough.
no way. There's no way. Kevin Durant was never the best player in the world. Steph was never the best player in the world. Um,
I don't necessarily agree that Durant never was, but go ahead.
he wasn't. He was never
Make
at
your point.
Giannis peak. Anyways, my point is now recently because there hasn't been a LeBron or a Jordan to like dominate for a decade. It has switched several times over the last half decade, right? Like in an instant, it was Giannis, and then in an instant, it went from Giannis to Jokic, and then literally it took a season and a half, but in one moment, one instant, the Nuggets game this year, everybody started saying, maybe it's Shea, right? It took the one game. I
Well,
get it was a buildup, but it took the one game. So my point
and
is,
even though it took that, you could start to argue that everybody's just been wrong.
sure. And typically that's
Because
how,
hold on, let me finish that thought. Shea's about to end his 4th season in a row over 30 points a game. There's only 2 other players to ever do it.
right. But I guess to my point is that that's kind of what happens whenever you switch in your mind who the best player in the world is, because I think that collectively everybody started saying that Giannis was the best player in the world in 21 when they won the ring. After they won the ring, they're like, oh, he's the best player in the world. And then you start to look back on the last couple NBA seasons, and you're like, well, he really kind of has been since like 18 or 19. We just didn't really say it. We still kind of just collectively said it was
Right.
LeBron. And then all of a sudden it was Giannis, and we're like, well, it kind of probably has been for a couple years now. And the same thing with Jokic, right? Like Jokic after like his second MVP, we're like, okay, he's probably the best player in the world over Giannis. But before that, we had still been giving Giannis the credit because the two sides of the ball. And then we start looking, we're like, well, it might have already been that way for a couple of years now. Anyways, so to your point, it kind of happened all in an instant after the Nuggets game this year. But now we can kind of be like, well, maybe we've just been wrong for the last like 6 months, right? Maybe it's just been Shea that whole
Or
time.
2 years.
Maybe. But my point is that,
And that's not a knock on Jokic.
right.
Jokic is one of the best players we've ever seen.
My point is that it kind of happens in an instant. And while I don't expect it to happen in this playoffs, typically the instant that it happens most of the time is in the playoffs. So if Wemby just goes nuclear in a series and then beats us, it can happen in an instant. And I don't expect it to, but it can. It happens in an instant for everybody. It's just when is that instant?
Who's your 3?
My 3 is the Celtics because I had the or the Nuggets because I had the Celtics in 4.
Fair enough. I mean, that's obvious. My 2 is still Boston. And I know it's a 1-game sample size, but they were not at full strength and we were, and they beat us from the second quarter on. Look, in a 7-game series, am I worried about it? No. But the Celtics are really freaking
well, no,
good.
both teams in that game were at full strength.
No, Tatum didn't play.
Yeah, he did. He didn't play in
And
Oklahoma
Brown
City.
One of the 2 didn't.
No. They both played in Boston. In Oklahoma City, Tatum didn't play, but that game was the game that we won. That was the 127th game for Shea.
Yeah, no. I know they both played in that game. They did
No.
not both play.
No. Tatum didn't play in the game in Oklahoma City. The game in Boston, both of them played.
Oh, was the game in Oklahoma City the other day? The one we
No,
lost?
the one we lost
Then
was in
one
Boston.
of them didn't play. I'm telling you, they didn't. I guess maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What I do know is that we were at full strength for the 8th time all year and we got beat.
Sure.
That's what I know.
Sure.
Whether they had them both or not doesn't matter.
Well, I mean,
We
it kind of matters to the entire point you were
oh,
making, but
well, I understand that.
They did both play. Both teams in that game were at full strength.
Anyway, point is, we're the reigning champions
Right.
that won 24-1 or whatever it was to start the season. 8th game with all of our players, and we got beat pretty soundly. So
Sure. I mean, again, it happens. You're not going to win every game.
I understand that,
It
but that's
was
the reason.
of
Of all the Eastern Conference teams, I actually believe in the Celtics.
absolutely me as well. That's why they're in my 3 spot. They're just not in my 2 spot because they don't have Victor Wembanyama. So, and the Spurs
So,
do. So
and
the Spurs are
obviously our
2.
number ones are both Oklahoma City. I got it.
Actually, I forgot. I forgot my list. The Celtics are in 4 for me. Forgot because 3-2-1 is Nuggets, Spurs,
Oh,
Thunder. So
yeah. Yeah, I knew what you meant.
yeah, and for the Nuggets, it's because you have Jokic, and for the Spurs, it's because you have Wemby, and obviously that's downplaying the Spurs a lot because the Spurs are just a really really good basketball team. But the reason I believe they can go on a run, whether or not they will, I don't know. But the reason they can go on a run is because they have Victor Wembanyama, who can completely change the outlook of every single game that he's in. He's dominant. Um, he's so good, and he goes so far past the counting stats, like every analytic, he's so good.
I do think it's interesting because, once again, he's one of those players I can't stand him from the perspective of, should you MVP? Of course I should. He's LeBron in that way.
Well, he was
They asked
asked the
Shea.
question.
I know. They asked Shea. You know what he said? I just let my players do the talking.
Yeah, but Shea is very unique in that sense. Nobody else really says that. Like,
Michael Jordan would say it that way. Kobe
sure,
would have said it that way. LeBron does it. And now
sure.
Wemby does it. That's the difference.
He did it one time, and they asked him specifically to give reasons why he believes he should be the MVP, and all he did was answer the
And
question.
what a great player says is, I don't know, you
No,
make it for
no.
me. Let me
What very select few great players have said. Most
you
do
mean
not.
like the greatest.
Debatable.
Well, I know. Just ask LeBron. He'll tell you he's the GOAT and should be MVP every year.
I mean, depends on the definition. Maybe he should have like 8.
Hmm.
Then again, so
Anyway,
should Mike if you want to view it that way. But for
yeah,
what it's
Mike
worth,
should have won it for a full decade.
yeah, sure. Anyways, um, yeah, Wimby's just really freaking good, and I will say though the one thing I disliked that he said was one of the reasons was like, oh, I'm 4-1 against the Thunder, and like that is a true statement, but also
Very disrespectful to the rest of his teammates.
no,
It is.
no, that's not. Actually, I'm pretty sure he said I'm 4-1 against Shea or something like that. Anyways, uh,
Oh, I didn't know he was guarding him.
you know, point being that I think that the reason that that's unfair is because for a couple of those games we weren't at full strength. Even though for some
I
of
don't
them
think
we
we were ever
were.
at full strength when we played them.
We definitely were for the cup game and the one on Christmas for sure. But um, point is at that point, like that was his first game back from injury was the cup game, and he was on a minutes restriction in that game. He came off the bench. So what are we really saying there? And that was when we were in our lull of the season. So not to say that the point is invalid. I just don't think that it tells the full story. However, he's really freaking good. That's all I
Yeah.
got there.
All right.
The last thing I want to mention before we get to our segments, the last thing I want to mention is the vote for potential NBA expansion. It was voted on, and the language of what was said afterwards was that it was voted on to explore bids for a team in Seattle and a team in Vegas. And if this were to go through, they would start in the 28 season, and it would move one team out east. They said probably either the Timberwolves, Grizzlies, or Pelicans.
Pelicans probably makes the most sense, but Memphis is not. It's pretty much straight north ish.
Sure. And then they also said that what the expected bids for both those cities would be $7 to $10 billion for each team. So let's split the cost and go in. You know what I'm saying? But
Look, Vegas is a no freaking brainer. The NBA is the only league right now that doesn't have a professional sports franchise there. I know baseball's not there yet, but obviously they're building where the Flamingo was. Obviously, hockey has done very well there. The Raiders are there. You can't not have an NBA team, so that's a no-brainer. I don't know about Seattle. Like the city is not what it used to be. There's a lot of things going on there that aren't great. I don't know that you can build it where the old Key Arena was. Whether or not somebody is going to invest $8 billion in that city right now, I don't know. Like, Vegas is a no-brainer, and I like Seattle. I've gone a couple of times. It's a beautiful city. I it's just not what it was, and it's weird, and I just don't know it. I don't know if it makes financial sense. Obviously, the league will make those decisions. But to me, Vegas isn't. You vote for that if you're an owner because you have to be in Vegas. The fact that it's tied to Seattle, I don't know if I was an owner what I'd feel about that. But you have to get Vegas a
I
team.
mean, in the
You
NBA
have to.
in the NBA community specifically, nobody disagrees with Seattle just because the fan base in
Well,
Seattle was known to be so good.
a
But
long time ago at this point.
sure, but I guess my point is that ever since
And
then,
remember, back then they would not vote for a stadium, or arena, which is why it moved.
I mean, the city didn't build a new arena. Yeah, for sure. But
And it went to a vote, and everybody voted no. Again, yes, when they were good and they had a fan base. Do they still? I don't know. It's been a while.
sure. Anyways, I think that's about all we got. So now we can transition into our new segments. We'll start off with buzzer beater B.
Okay. This should be fun, especially the way you ended last week. Buzzer beater beef. About to piss Tristan off. I might make him cry. I don't know.
Cry is excessive.
So first, Luka is an elite offensive talent.
Yes.
However, he is an overrated player. Here's why. Yes, offensively, he can do a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to argue that, but he gives zero defensive effort and he doesn't do anything else well. Period. Full stop. He has, do you know what his defensive, do you know what his plus minuses is this year? I'll tell you because I know. It is, where did it go? Where did it move? I've lost my tab. Hold on a minute. His plus minus this season is, where'd it go? 191 points. Do you know who number one in the league is? I'll tell you. Shea, I forget how you, Gilgis Alexander, you called him something else, but Shea is
I
number
called him
two,
by his
or is
name.
number one. At 773 points.
Yeah, because Shea is
Luka
a
is at
historically high
190.
plus minus.
Do you know at 25, it's plus 560? Which means Luka's like out of the top 50 or 60 players in the league in plus minus. Which means, great, I score 40 a game. I gave up 37
Well, that's not true.
defensively. Well,
that's not true.
You don't know that it's not true. Anyway, point I'm making is I got to give it to Luka, though. In his career, he has double the plus minus of Shea for this season. His career plus minus is 1427. Shea has over 700 this year. Luka's an elite offensive talent. He will never win a ring because he doesn't care about any of the rest of the game. Period. Full stop. He gives no effort on defense. Half the time he's arguing with a ref at the other end of the court while his team's playing 5-on-4. He is a
That was
liability
absurd.
in every other sense of the game. Period. Yes, he leads Shea by 2 points per game this year, but he's averaged 2 more minutes per game this year. My claim is Luka is an overrated player. He is a liability on defense. If he plays it at all, half the time it feels like he's down at the other end of the court arguing with refs while his team's playing 4-on-5. He's an elite offensive player. That's it. He'll never win a title. Period.
All right, my minute 30 starts now. So, first of all, where you're wrong is that, like we've said when we've had this discussion, you can line up several players and be like, who wins a ring first, and then be like, probably none of them. Sure, but that's partially because the league and the game is so unpredictable. So to be able to make some kind of definitive statement he'll never win a ring is absurd. You don't know that. Specifically because he was literally a player that 2 years ago was 3 games away, and I get it was a different team, but you didn't say that. You didn't say depending on the team. You said he will never win a ring because of the player he is. He was 3 games away, and he was completely outmatched team-wise by the team that beat him. The teams weren't even close. So to say he'll never win a ring is absurd. Also, he's not an overrated player because he is just that freaking good offensively. He is at worst the 5th best player on the planet right now, and that's because he's that good, that efficient, that dominant offensively. And you're right, the defense does leave something to be desired, but he still obviously scores more than he allows because he scores 33 a game, right? He's not allowing 33 a game, even if that's because he's on the worst offensive player on the court. He's not allowing 33 a game. He's just not. And like you said, he does have a positive plus minus, which means at the end of the day, he's still a net positive. And you're right, it's not a high positive plus minus, but that's because compared to Shea, right? He doesn't have the team that Shea has. He's never had the team that Shea has, ever. Like Shea has a historically dominant team. Obviously, Shea's a massive part of that. But Luka is that good. You're right. He doesn't play both sides of the ball. But there have been plenty of superstars that have played one side of the ball and not the other.
Not to win titles.
It doesn't mean that they're some, sure, maybe. But my point being that Steph kind of gives effort, but he's never been an elite defensive player. I do believe
he gives all out effort.
But my point
and
being,
at times in his career, he's been underrated as a defender.
Only because people said he was atrocious, and he wasn't atrocious. He was bad. Right. Well, not atrocious.
Luke is atrocious.
Anyways, my point is, there's always been players that are great on one side and not the other. Both ways. There, I think, obviously different game, but there were like 3 or 4 times that the Celtics won a title where they had literally the worst offensive rating in the entire NBA because Bill Russell was that good defensively. I mean, again, different league.
Interesting.
But my point is,
you're saying this happened, but the other way.
Right. I said, like I just said, there have been players at all points in history that have been great at one side and not good at the other. It happens. My point is, it's very few and far between to have a player that's great at both, right? Even Jokic isn't great at both. Like, he gives some effort defensively, but he is a...
No, Michael was, Kobe was, SJ
Bron was, like, Shea is... Well, Shea's pretty good defensively. He's not elite defensively, but anyways, my point being that Luka's just that dominant offensively to where he is that good of a player.
AI was a dominant offensive player, didn't play like a defense, didn't win a ring, and neither will Luka. That's my rebuttal. All right.
He's the only player. He's the only player to beat the 0-1 Lakers in a playoff game. The only one.
Yeah.
And he went to a finals.
Yeah. He didn't win one.
Nope.
Okay. Neither will Luka.
That's an absurd statement. Anyways.
Most players won't. It's not absurd.
Sure. But to say for definitive fact that he won't is absurd.
Well, we can talk about this in another 10 years.
Well, in 10 years, he'll still be playing at a high level to the NBA.
Maybe.
Not maybe, he will.
But at best, he's going to be on the 3rd best team in the West for the next 10 years. And that's assuming no one else gets out of the woodwork.
That's also assuming that he's a Laker the whole time. Maybe he goes to the Eastern Conference. You never know. You don't know what's going to happen.
Anyway.
All right. Now we can get to... Thank you for buzzer beater beef.
Buzzer beater beef. Now, clearly I won. I know everybody agrees with me. Thank you.
Yeah,
no one likes to watch that whiny little bitch Luka on the court. He touched me. Hey, they're down there playing. I don't care. I don't play that side of the ball.
You know, even if that happens 3 times in a game, it's still, 3% of the game.
I don't
Like,
care. It should never happen.
that's all we got for this week. Thank you all for listening to this episode. Check back with us next week. I think we might do a little bit of a mock draft, maybe not a full first round, but maybe top 10, top 15 pick somewhere in there. Mock draft for the NFL draft that's coming to a couple weeks from now. And then the week after that will be very fun because it'll be the day before the play-in tournament starts. And so we'll give full, at least first round predictions for the NBA playoffs, and got a lot going on there. The week following that will be after the first weekend of the NBA playoffs, and the week after that will be after another full week of NBA playoffs and the NFL draft.
Yeah, we
so
get it.
lots to discuss, lots to cover. So keep coming back, keep tuning in. Thanks for watching. Like, comment,
Yeah, baby.
subscribe.
Peace.